Both of you teach and work in this space, and can you remind us that you're also human, and share a time or recurring seasons in your life, perhaps, where you've momentarily forgotten this vision for God's work in the work that you do, and how you recalled the truth?
I think for me, I've been battling Lyme disease for several years, and I'm doing a lot better now than I was some years ago, but there was probably about a year in particular earlier on when, I just wasn't able to work very, very much. And it caused me to see what an idol I had for productivity. And I remember sort of laying in my bed and just feeling like, this is such a waste of time. God, I could be doing so many great things for you if you would just heal me so I can get busy. So I was forgetting that, it's God's work. God is to be trusted. And the thing that kind of got me back on track, I kind of laugh at myself because I had been given a present of like this little devotional book by a sweet lady that I know in Indiana. And in my prideful, intellectual self, I remember sort of putting it in my suitcase and flying home and thinking to myself, yeah, right, like I'm gonna use that devotional booklet. Thinking that's just so lame. Only immature baby Christians use little devotional booklets, I'm reading N.T. Wright's theology, I'm a serious Christian. And there I am laying in the bed, unable to hardly read anything. And I pick up the little devotional booklet that I'd totally, dissed and made fun of, and kind of randomly open it up, and the little devotional for the day was something I don't remember the exact words, but it basically said something like, God loves you just as much when you're laying down as when you're standing up. It was wow, what a profound truth in this little devotional book. But hey, it was an actual truth, and it was good to remember.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, I hinted at it there towards the end of my talk. I don't know, there's not a distinct time, seasons, where I am very prone, I'm hyper-responsible. And I used to think of that as an incredible strength, but I also think about it as an incredible liability and vulnerability in my character and who I am. And like I said, I think it's a mixture of things, like the sin, the wounds. I think that comes for me from being a firstborn and a lot of responsibility that was put on me at a young age. It comes from some dynamics in my family and some alcoholism in my family and being forced to grow up pretty quick. It comes, I think, from a lot of my strengths, just leadership and all that, but also sin, real sin of pride. And so I can often slip as a pastor, as a church planner, I can often slip into thinking, this is up to me. I've got to figure this out. I've got to figure out how to do this. I've got to figure out how to solve this. I've got to solve the problem. And right, some of that instinct's good. Like a leader takes responsibility and all that, but not at the level at which I can often do that. And so I think one of the ways God's really sanctifying me, maturing me, growing me, freeing me, healing me, is calling me to, I'm preaching whatever I was doing today, preaching, teaching. I'm preaching to myself. So I think God is calling me to a deeper rest in Him and a deeper awareness of how He is at work and how I can trust Him. And I think how I get out of that, oftentimes it's these curveball situations that come out of nowhere that I can't, like the situation I mentioned with our church. I can't figure it out. I can't solve it. It's way too big. And it just brings me back to my knees, and it brings me back to prayer, and it brings me back to reality. So it's wonderful to be aware of and thankful for situations that knock us off of our feet and get us flat on our backs. They get us right in the best perspective again.